To order.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. Right on cue. Mr. Foraker. Ms. Etler.
Present.
Ms. Schaefer is absent. Mr. Campbell.
Present.
And Mr. Foraker. Or Fordyce, excuse me.
I hesitated.
Yeah, so did I, apparently. All right. Approval of the agenda, number 4.
A motion to approve the agenda.
Second. Foraker.
Aye.
Edler.
Aye.
Campbell.
Aye.
Fordyce.
Aye.
There we go. On to number 5. Swear-in ceremonies. Mayor John M. Kaczmarczyk, letter A. That's me, I guess. I can come to you.
All right. Raise your hand. I, John M. Kaczmarczyk,
Yes. I, John M. Kaczmarczyk,
do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Iowa.
yeah, slow that down a little.
Do solemnly swear
Do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Iowa,
and the Constitution of the State of Iowa,
and that I will faithfully and impartially,
and I will faithfully and impartially,
to the best of my
to
ability,
the best of my ability,
discharge all the duties as mayor of the city of Elkhart,
discharge all duties for mayor of the city of Elkhart,
Iowa, as now or hereinafter required by law.
as now or hereinafter required by law.
All right. Good.
Thank you so much.
Need a sign?
Yes. Thank you so much.
Congratulations.
And we'll have future council member, Mr. Travis Warnke. Get yours knocked out if you're okay with that.
Yeah. Still there.
Come on up. Same thing, right hand, please. I state your name.
I, Travis Warnke,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Iowa,
and the Constitution of the State of Iowa.
and that I will faithfully and impartially,
I will faithfully and impartially,
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
discharge all the duties as city council member
to discharge all the duties as City Council member
for the city of Elkhart, Iowa,
for the City of Elkhart, Iowa,
as now
as now
or hereafter required by law.
or hereafter required by law.
Congratulations. Have you? We'll sign that afterward or get it taken care of.
You're gonna make you stick around for the whole meeting.
Yes. You're in it now. Alrighty. Number 6, letter A, Polk County Sheriff Report under Citizen Hearing and Other Communications. Lieutenant, how you doing?
Good. Last month, there were 50 calls for service up here. Really nothing out of the ordinary, nothing major, just good. I hate to always say it, but just kind of your run-of-the-mill type of calls.
Council questions, comments? I know we've got the report also on file. Katie had sent it to us, so. No, that was easy.
Yeah.
Thanks, sir.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Letter B, Scott J., our fire chief, will he be here? Does he send something along?
He will not be here, but he sent me an email to read.
Okay.
He said, we had 11 calls for service since the last meeting. 7 were fire related, including 2 that were mutual aid to Bondurant, 2 rescue calls, and 2 medical calls. Our attention has been on the cold and snowy weather to provide assistance where it's needed. Remember, Santa and Mrs. Claus will be at the fire station this Saturday at 2 o'clock.
Speaking of, I've not seen anything on that. Am I just missing
We
the
know,
announcement or?
we had shared something. I hadn't seen the fire department share anything on their page, but I know we had shared something about it
Maybe I just missed it. Okay.
a few days ago. We'll bump it again this week to
Okay.
get it back out there as well. So, no, good call. Okay, letter C, public comments, anything not on the agenda?
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Is there a big sports complex or something going in out here? Because I've heard something somebody said something to me the other day about it.
Mhm.
And then I saw some advertisement on Facebook, and before I could even do anything with it or whatever, I lost it.
Mhm.
So I guess I'm curious. I know there's a big one for Ankeny on the east side of the interstate, but apparently there's something else in the Elkhart city limits.
Not that I read.
Well,
Oh.
yeah.
The base-
Oh, no, I'm sorry,
Baseball
the big, yes.
In that
three Ts.
industrial park,
Yes.
yes.
3 Ts.
I'm thinking like
3 Ts,
soccer
yeah,
stadium,
that's
I'm
it,
sorry.
3
Yep.
Ts. Okay, all right. So I guess that's the first I heard of it.
Mhm.
Yeah, January 4th is their grand opening. They just put that out there too, I think, this week. So
That's probably why I saw an
Yeah.
ad on Facebook.
that's,
about
I
it.
saw the exact same thing you saw, I guarantee it.
Okay.
You had said sports complex, I'm thinking like tower lights and soccer stadium, baseball field, something like that.
Oh, yeah,
Something
no, this
big,
is
big,
an
so.
enclosed
Yep.
deal,
Mhm.
Yeah, it's a really nice building.
30,000 square feet or
Yeah.
something, I guess, so.
It's a nice facility. They moved down from Eames.
Okay, that
Better
makes
interstate
sense, because when I
access.
looked it up, I'm like, well, there's a 3T in
Mhm.
Ames, but it's closed,
Mhm.
so I'm like, so, okay.
I think they started block pitching in there. So
Oh, very good. Oh, good question. Anything else?
I got a question.
Yes, sir.
I watch on YouTube, so I'm here, but not here.
And who are you?
Dylan Pitts,
Okay.
Megan, and Mabel.
Okay.
Last meeting, there was discussion of putting a fence around the city maintenance building in concrete over here by the water treatment facility. I mean, is that being seriously considered? I mean, I could list 1,000 other things that are better with that money than doing that stuff, just
So-
for the code.
Yeah, so out here at the water treatment plant where the new plant is and where it was gravelled along the side there, for whatever reason, that was missed. How do I want to explain this? That should have been paved based off of the way the code was rewritten and brought up. Driveways on the west side of town here, and somebody help me if I'm stumbling here too bad, but the code required that basically driveways had to be paved. Well, almost all of the driveways on this side of town were all rocked, and this is several years ago.
Well, if they make a change, right? If they,
Correct, if something new. So
Yes.
at the time when code enforcement prior was, and this is several years ago, went around, almost all driveways on this side of town were gonna get violated. So a amendment to the code was put in place that says, okay, the driveways can be rocked or whatever, as long as it was in place before X date. Well, now since this was built, that is after that date.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
get that, but
yeah.
like, is the town considering that? I mean, wouldn't we be better served with a splash pad or some land with a hill for sledding for kids or,
Right.
anything else? I mean, fences are ugly too. Let's be real about putting a fence around the maintenance facility.
Yeah, and we're not talking like a big, large fence as far as anything else, but with code enforcement and compliances and things like that, it's just things that we need to look at, and nothing has been discussed. There's nothing official. It's been discussed, rather, and brought up at the last meeting, as you mentioned, but nothing officially discussed or anything further from there, so.
Outdoor storage areas more so.
Yeah. Seems fine the way it is. If there's money to spend, like.
Sure.
Yeah. Other things would take priority.
No, absolutely. Anything else? Mr. Hess?
Tony Hess. Yeah, I brought up the last meeting about the re-audit that took place back in the latter part of 2024. And I had some questions about some of the findings in that. And I was kind of surprised there wasn't an agenda item on this month's agenda for the transparency to discuss what was going on with that.
Mhm.
I had questions about, I think it was in excess of $8,000 in uncollected permit fees. You know, has that ever been collected? Who were the permit holders? I mean, was there one predominant permit holder that was the cause for that? You know, to this gentleman's point, you know, the money's money and the city needs it. You know, this last snowfall, you know, I saw some stuff on social media, you know, complaining about lack of sand or no sand or any particular being put down. Every intersection in town you could easily slide through. And, you know, you talk about, you know, spending money wisely. You know, I think for the money we're spending on code enforcement, you know, a quick check with people who sell sand And we could have bought like 500 tons of sand for that $8,500 you're
Well,
spending on coal.
You see, Tony, we need an oval building to be able to put sand and brine in before we can start collecting large amounts of sand. And then we'd have to put a fence around it.
You could also purchase it, in smaller quantities to have on hand, so you have some on hand, but, the rationale wasn't given that we didn't have any place to store it. The rationale was given is that we didn't have it in the budget, we couldn't afford it. So,
I'm not gonna go down that rabbit hole, but I believe that that was taken way out of context. I know what comments you're referring to, and I know I replied to one of them. I think that is being taken out of context. It is in the budget, however, we don't have a larger budget for it now.
Yeah.
Versus as to a comment that Mr. Fordyce had made, that we're coming off of several years of lower snowfalls, lower ice accumulation, et cetera. So we adjust that accordingly. Now this year it's a bigger year. We've already surpassed last season's snowfall in total. So
I saw that.
so no, I had a conversation with Ron, what was it, Saturday? Was it Saturday night, Friday night? Whenever the next snowfall, the most recent one was coming in here. All my days are running together. Thank you. It was Friday. I had a conversation with Ron about making sure we get some extra material down and do some extra stuff this go around. I'm not gonna go into all the details on that, but I know
No,
I have
think they've
driven-
done an admirable job
Yeah.
clearing the snow, because it was a bush, so.
Yeah, I have driven around town after every snowfall that we've had so far, once they're done clearing, and I do a brake check test. I literally slam on the brakes as I'm coming up to stop signs or intersections or whatever.
Well,
and it-
slow the hell down.
Yeah.
I'm doing the speed limit or under, but I'm testing for those who may hit the brakes harder. I'm trying to simulate. And what I'm getting at after here is if there's any issues that I notice, I'll shoot a text to the guys like, hey, we need some more stuff here. We need some more stuff there. So
Yeah, I know Paisley's riding hippies.
I would encourage anybody with questions or concerns on our snow removal practices or how we do things, whatever, reach out to City Hall directly. We're not gonna necessarily get involved or reply to any Facebook comments. We don't have to do that, and we did on this one, but just reach out to City Hall directly. So any address concerns can be addressed. So
The larger point being,
Mhm.
The funds that were spent for code enforcement,
Mhm.
I think could be better spent for things such as particulate.
Okay.
Or this actual snow removal itself, because I'm sure we're burning through the labor budget we had set aside for that too. Like I said, more snow, more hours. And those hours are never during 8 to 5.
Sure. No, very good. Thank you. Any other comments? The public comment session closed. Thank you. On to number 7, discussion about screening requirements of code 165.27. Who wants to kick this one off and get started here?
I can.
Sure.
So at the last meeting, there was a public hearing for a code enforcement infraction. And part of that was some questions around the language of municipal code 165-275, which was storage areas, outdoor storage of materials, equipment, supplies were permitted in any commercial industrial district, shall be located or screened, fenced, or landscaped. It's where the conversation about the city's maintenance shed came up, as it was brought by a private citizen with pictures. So one of the things that we decided to do at the last meeting was table that specific screening conversation as it pertained to that violation, because we needed to make sure as a council, we were all on board with how 165.27 was written. And that's why Katie sent out the information related to the screening requirements, the definitions of opaque, different municipal zoning regulations from across the metro, so Polk City, Grimes, Bondurant. And we took a look at what other cities are requiring, and then kind of comparing it to where we're at, making sure we're in line with it. And then do we want to make any changes to that or eliminate it or get rid of, requirements within that as it relates specifically to 165.27. So doing some of my own homework, looking through what Katie sent, checking with a few other places. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. It protects, properties that are already there, but it also looks at development going forward. So number 2 on that says general screening. Every development shall provide sufficient screening. So thus where if there's a new maintenance shed that's built and there isn't screening put around it, that is in violation of the code, and that's where that pops out of. But it also looks at buildings that were already in place. It covers it all, and it gets into the different types of screening per each, either commercial, residential, but mostly commercial on this one. And then it talks about being at least 6 foot in height, intermittent visual obstructions from different directions, the highlight of strong impression of spatial separation to keep your residential, your commercial, your industrial separated. What could it be? Is it fence, wall, landscaped earth berm, planted vegetation, existing vegetation? And then it has to be opaque or unable to be seen through all seasons. So it's not something that can just be good, so if it's vegetation, it can't all die in the winter and then not be opaque anymore. And comparing that to what, like I said, what the other cities of, not necessarily our size, but other cities adjacent to the metro that have the same population growth as we do from a percentage standpoint, and looking into some options. I didn't really see anything that I personally thought we needed to trim out of it. Maybe some clarification on if there's other types of fencing that has been added or options that have existed since 165.27 was put into place. I know there's different fencing options since then. There's the plastic fencing, right?
Mhm.
Not as durable for the wind, things of that nature, but you get the point. So if there's any updating that would need to be done, maybe it's adding a little bit of more clarity around that. But as far as it pertains to storage areas, which is kind of what we're talking about, it's the outdoor storage of materials, equipment, or supplies when permitted in any commercial or industrial district shall be located, screened, fenced, or landscaped to effectively prevent visibility of such storage from all abutting residential zoning districts. So do we want to have a conversation? Did you guys find anything that you would want to change or update or amend to that? Again, not in specific relation at this point to any specific infractions, but we're talking specifically about the ordinance itself. So is there anything that you guys picked out of that you didn't like? Is there any conversations that we need to have? What do you think? Because I didn't really see anything in there that was pressing or that needed to be updated other than maybe fence material types, if anything.
Yay, nay?
I'm still thinking about it.
Okay.
Mixed feeling.
I think we change it, add the material types, and then there might be another example that comes up that might makes us go back and look at the code moving forward.
Yeah, I don't think it's anything we should decide on tonight. I think it's kind of a work in progress type of thing.
Correct.
Because
Yeah.
there could be several things that come up in the next couple months, and then we're changing it every time there's something that comes up, so
Mhm.
it could be like a work in progress.
Yeah, I mean, the definition of fence any material that would be suitable would fall under that material, assuming it was approved because it'd have to take out a permit and have that permit approved and things of that nature. So we don't have to add that. It was just the only thing I really saw that looked like it needed, it could be talked about even. But I mean, the reason why we have it, the reason why it was put in place before our time, I can't speak exactly to what the thought process was, but I enjoy having the separation of the areas. The Main Street had a lot of money put into it to get the parking redone, to get the pavers put in, to get it widened, to get the drainage worked on. It does create a nice separation when we require those types of things. But at the same time, we have businesses that have been in place for a while. And I think it's, we can talk about that later again during that specific hearing, which I believe is literally next agenda item. But yeah, I don't think there's really a whole lot in there to change right now, personally, but that's just my opinion.
It's fine.
Anything further to add? Okay.
But again, when we go through these code enforcement things and violations come up, violation is the start of a conversation. The violation isn't condemnation on a person or a business or anything. It allows us to bring these things back up and to have reasonable conversations. Because I agree with Mr. Pitts. I do think there are things where money could be better spent, but there's also when oversights happen on projects, we do have to find a way, future budgets, 2027, 2028, to put those in place to make sure that we are in line with our own codes. It doesn't make any sense to go around and enforce codes that the city isn't it's self-enforcing. So I think if we're going to set that example, then yeah, but at the same time, it's not just okay, we need a fence, let's go build a fence. It's, well, now we need to budget for it. We need to make sure it comes out of the appropriate funding so that we do have enough money to spend on salt and sand and things of that nature. It's part of a greater conversation. It's never just a one-off expenditure, in my opinion. I agree with what you said, though. Like, yeah, there's a lot of fun stuff we could do with more money. So grants are great. We're working on it.
Absolutely. If nothing further, we'll move on. Okay. Number 8, public hearing. Time is 6:20. Public hearing regarding code violation notice for property owner of 268 Northwest Main Street. I get a motion second to open the public hearing.
Motion to open the public hearing regarding code violation.
Second.
Foraker.
Aye.
Edler.
Aye.
Campbell.
Aye.
Fordice.
Aye.
Public hearing is now open.
So you're the public. As you
First
know,
question
Mr.
I've
Adams.
got in there is, and you stated it many times, Mr. Mayor, that you were gonna, someone from the council, the city would look over these to be sure everything was in order before they sent them out.
Mhm.
My last one was sent in there on the property of 352 Northwest Main.
Mhm.
Not once, not twice, but 3 times. When Mr. Hess went to the city and asked for a copy of the code violations, 252 was marked out, which is my address, and 352 was wrote in.
Okay.
On this property here, 268, you sent it to a man in his upper 80s that owns the other property. The due diligence was not done on that end of it in there, and you upset that fella kind of bad. Secondly, need you to look them over and tell me what the difference is.
What are we looking at?
From the
I'll
pictures,
pass them down.
do they relatively look like the same type of equipment?
You want to describe what you're looking at for public
Yeah, so
points?
yeah, there's a couple photographs here of the property that we're discussing at 268 Northwest Main Street in town. Snow plowed blades, a couple trailers that are sitting outside, some gravel with some items that are sitting on top of it. That's what Mr. Adams, this is your property, right? Yep. So this is what he provided us. And then these photographs are going to be our public works area with, we got a forklift implement sitting out there, snow plow implement sitting out in the yard, and a couple other piles, very similar photographs between the two properties.
Mine's listed as junk and has to be moved. Well, you can go out to the mobile home park and tell them people that it was junk for the last 2 snows because they plowed the roads out there, the streets. You can also tell the fire department what it was because on the night of 29th of November in there at midnight, I plowed the snow around the firehouse in case there was an emergency. It had been plowed, the guys had done it, but they went home because they were not on hours in there, out hours, whatever into there, and I went ahead and knocked it down because we have had firemen fall and get hurt and it's cost the city money. I don't think my stuff's junk just because it was sitting there and it's not painted up pretty. And I don't know what else you're supposed to do with it. Unless I bring it to a council members and put it in their yard.
Just because the code lists it out as junk does not mean the items are junk. That's just how the code is read. That's the way that they put it.
I understand that. I want a clarification of it.
Any comments on this?
So but going back to the letter you wrote, we're not necessarily debating if the city has junk or you have junk, we're talking specifically about 268 Northwest Main Street, correct? And in your letter, you're asking to be grandfathered in, correct? So that you,
Should be the same thing on it in there. This, what am I to do with that stuff when they off season when I'm not using it?
I mean, I have suggestions, but I don't. I mean,
Yeah, but I mean,
you can build a
I don't
fence
have enough
around
space
it.
to put it
You can build
inside and,
storage.
that ground is only 25 feet wide. So how you gonna be able to build a fence that you're gonna be able to get in and out of and do stuff in that area?
My personal opinions aside, that's not what we're talking about.
I
though.
understand that,
We're
what
talking
you are,
about-
but I don't have any other place to put it, just like you don't have any other place to put the stuff the city's got.
I bought a golf cart because apparently we needed one because we golf. We don't, but we needed one to drive around town. And I had to rent a storage unit to put it in for the winter because it didn't fit in my garage anymore with 3 vehicles at my own personal expense because I couldn't just leave it in my
I understand that.
So I know there's times where, but that's, again, I don't want to, I'm not saying I disagree with you as to where you're supposed, I'm just saying if we're talking specifically about your request was to be grandfathered in
Yes,
and not have
because
to
it's
build a
been
fence
there.
under 165.
That trailer's, I use it, but it don't get used every day
Yep.
in there.
Yeah, like I said, that's on you to decide where
And
you want to
Mr.
put it or
Smith
what
has
you're
one
gonna
set
do with it.
outside here too.
But again, we're not talking about your property versus another.
I
property. Okay.
understand that.
Just to keep
I
it really
understand
clear, I'm
that.
not trying to, just keeping it on track. So,
And then also the
Yeah.
notice wasn't initially for all the other items that are sitting there. It's for a pile of metal and all the other stuff beside the building. It's for the pile of gravel that's laying there, not so much the snowplow blade and the trailer that's sitting there.
how do you distinguish the difference then, or how is he
It's-
supposed to?
It was just the way
interpret
that I
the
had called it out for
Okay.
in the letter. So I didn't specifically call out the trailer, or the trailer and the snowplow blade. It was more or less for the.
So if
What I'm
he,
getting at, they were in the picture.
Yes, they're in the picture.
So,
There's no way to
I
get away
understand.
not.
I understand that. I
So,
just,
I'm not calling
stated
your
it.
things trash or junk in any way. It's just the other items that were sitting there.
so that's where it comes, there's two different things going on here though in the violation. One is the definition of junk, which is 5102, and deciding what to do with that stuff. The second part is what you were asking to be grandfathered in, which is the building of the fence. And the way that these two things have to be separated out based on how state codes work is that if you're seeking any type of variance on the fencing portion of it, let's say you already had a fence, but you wanted a different type of fence, or you're saying, I don't want to build a fence. The only people or persons who have the authority to tell you that you can or don't have, that has to go to Board of Adjustments. So the city council doesn't actually have the authority to say you have to build a fence. On this, that goes to Board of Adjustments. What we have the authority to enforce is the 51.02, which is the junk side of it. And the way that can work is we come to an agreement of what is and what isn't junk. Maybe hey, this trailer is going to be here for 60 days and then I'm going to move it, right? Something like that, hypothetical, but I'm going to get the gravel out of there, this out of there, and that out of there. We work with Harrison. We say, okay, is this sufficient? It's a small town. We try to work with people. It's a conversation. But as the accumulation continues or discontinues, depending on the location, then it's okay. You didn't live up to what you said you were going to do. We need you to either build a fence or you got to move the stuff. And that can be the conversation if you want. And if you choose not to build a fence at that point, you can go to the Board of Adjustments and they can say, nope, you don't need a fence. We're good with it. We'll grandfather you in because they're the ones that have the authority to grandfather. We are not. The issue then becomes you still have to do something with the quote unquote junk. It still has to be
the
moved
iron
whether you
that's
put a
there
fence
is
there or
the
not.
steps that go on the backside of one of them trailers.
You what? Sorry.
The iron that's called iron or junk there is steps that go on the backside of one of them trailers. And if I put them up there, where they go, somebody's gonna run into them. So that's why they're laying there. But they're steps so you can get in and out of the trailer. It's a racking that backs up behind it.
Yeah.
It was over here forever.
And that's why I think it's incumbent upon us to come to an agreement of what should and shouldn't be parked in the lot, correct? And what is or isn't considered business use.
Yes.
I mean,
yeah.
that's really what it comes down to. And That's
So-
why Harrison came tonight, so we can have this conversation, Ron, is to get this figured out.
You could also bring in the budding property to yours, the one that has the steel, I guess it's steel sided building. They had a trailer that was parked there and it was up on cinder blocks. We had them fix those tires and all that. They had a bunch of cinder blocks that were sitting out in the middle of their lot. They removed those as well.
Yeah, I know he did because, he didn't want anybody running in the building and then somebody run in the garage door and damaged, so.
So there was just a bunch of cinder blocks that were sitting out.
So you're okay, I just didn't know what that was. So the potential fix to the 5102 would be a conversation between you and Ron to go over to the property, potentially, look
Yeah,
through
if
it
you'd like to meet out there.
and have a conversation about what is and what isn't and where things can be put. And then if it comes down to it and you guys can come to some type of an agreement, then it comes back to us, or how would you like to handle that?
Yeah, or he can go down the route of putting screening around his place, and that's up to him on that point. But as far as items being removed, it would just be the pile of gravel and then the other pieces of steel that are laying out there.
Or they
Not-
can be
not so much
fenced
the-
in
not so
in
much the
accordance
blade
with
end.
165.
It's millings, it's not gravel, it's millings.
Fair enough.
So,
Asphalt chunks, yeah,
So are you willing to go meet with him to have a conversation about it and you guys can work on that
we can meet with it,
and see what comes out of it?
see what happens.
I'm fine with that. If you guys are, I
Yeah.
don't have a problem with that. Like I said, it's supposed to be a conversation. We're not gonna be like, hey, you gotta build a fence tomorrow. I
Either
mean,
have a mayor and a council, one of the council members there too.
well, that's why we pay Harrison, but if we can make it work, I'm sure one of us can make it work.
Well, we'll figure out a time. I think we can figure out a time they can be there with us.
my schedule's pretty empty. I can make things work.
Right on. So, and then on the second piece of it, if it does come down to it and you guys can't come to a resolution and a fence has to be built, then you would have to go to the Board of Adjustments and have a conversation about the 165.27 with them and see what their thoughts are on whether or not they can grandfather you in, because they're the only ones from the state of Iowa standpoint that have the legal authority to grandfather you in. We are not. We can amend the code, we can talk about it, we can add fencing colors or sightings or whatever. I don't think we need to do any of that. They're the only ones that can grandfather you in. Just so I spent a lot of time with that. So any questions or concerns then? So what's the best way for you two to get together to go through that?
You can give me a call or email me. You still have the letter, don't you?
Give them a call, set up a time to do it. And then Harrison, if you want to shoot us an email and let us know, and hopefully one of us can make it over there.
Yeah.
It'll be fine.
That
Yeah,
sounds
no
good.
problem.
Realize everything's in between the snow.
Well, that's the point. It might not be by the end of the week though.
Right.
So.
We can still see the majority of it. But we should talk about it.
And then I would say this, because I know there's other properties that have similar violations
Yeah.
right now.
Oh, yeah.
I would extend the same courtesy to them as well. Let's go have a conversation about it. Let's take a look at it and let's see if we can come up with a reasonable solution. This isn't meant to be unreasonable. And if a fence does need to get built, the ground's frozen, we're not going to ask you to build a fence tomorrow, and we would give you plenty of time to do it.
So the stuff got behind City Hall, what's that amount to then?
Behind
The shop,
No, behind City Hall?
you didn't send me any pictures of that tonight, so I don't know.
We did ask, I think Scott did move several items, but
It was fire department related, then I
Yes.
take it. Okay. Sounds good.
I'll bring him next meeting.
No, that's fine. It sounds like he moved some of them. So maybe that's a Scott Drey question if it's fire department related stuff.
All I have to say is all of it's a work in progress. We can't do all the properties at once. So
Yeah, and just like we wouldn't ask you to build a fence tomorrow, we have to budget for our stuff too. It is what it is. And in due time, it'll get done. Because it needs to, so.
If you don't amend the code, you will end up building a fence around the maintenance building and paving by the water treatment area.
Yeah, I mean, we have to follow the code. That's how it's written. I mean, unless we change it to read that the city doesn't have to, but that's
This isn't, we gotta jump through all these hoops to follow this arbitrary code you came up with.
I didn't come
No.
up with
It's been here for
a
way before
legal
we were even
requirement
here,
to enforce
you
it,
know.
but yes.
That should have all been done at the time that it was constructed, because the code was already in place.
Yeah, it still costs money. I mean,
No, I don't disagree. But
wouldn't we be better served with something else? I mean, does it look, I don't think it looks bad. I don't think Ron's stuff looks particularly bad. drive by the city maintenance building, it looks like it belongs there. You know, that's what's great about the small town feel.
What about the blocks that Tompkins into there and a big pile of
Okay,
dirt
we
that's there?
can't.
Yeah. So,
Go off the rails.
so we've kind of already covered A, but let's do this in the proper order. So if there's no other comments or anything, motion second to close the public hearing at 6:35.
Motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Okay, Foraker.
Aye.
Edler.
Aye.
Campbell.
Aye.
Fordice.
Aye.
So that takes us to 8A, which again, we've already discussed, but for sake of clarification, the action plan is,
Discussion, conversations, relationships, team building.
And Harrison is gonna wait for Ron to contact him to go do a walkthrough,
Yep.
right?
yep, and as mentioned, one of you to Harrison, reach out
I'll
for,
reach, after he talks to me, he gives me a couple times, then I'll reach out for him.
Sounds great.
yes, we will make some, sure somebody is available to sit and attend as well. So I will if I can. I've got some things coming up where I won't be available, but if I can, I will. So,
I'm pretty close. I can usually be there if you need me there.
so we need a motion, a second on that action then, or?
Yeah.
Yep, okay, so motion and a second to everybody meet up together and have a discussion. Is that simple enough, fair enough? Is that sufficient enough?
Motion for the action taken for
Thank
the
you.
code violation for 268 Northwest Main Street is going to be code enforcement officer meets with the property owner to have a discussion on potential remedies.
Second.
Sounds a lot better, thank you. Foraker.
Aye.
Edler.
Aye.
Campbell.
Aye.
Fordice.
Aye.
Okay. Very good. On to number 9, consent agenda. Is there anything in here that anybody would like to pull out, discuss? There are a lot of things in here this time.
Item J. So as far as the mean machine stuff goes, looks like you did a lot of due diligence and like contacting people and stuff like that. I'm curious, did you get any responses back?
I got one back from Royce.
Royce.
He owns the property right next door.
Okay,
He was fine with it.
he's fine with it.
So I never heard back from anybody else, but, well, I take that back. The people that I spoke to on the phone,
Yeah.
everybody was fine with that. I do know that Nathan at 10G, he's got no issues.
He's fine with it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think the only ones that really would be affected, and most of it's just gonna be parking
Mhm.
area. The ones that would really be affected would be the greens next door, which we've had discussions with them before, to put cones behind there, so they can get in and out. We're not restricting, we're not blocking off the street.
You're making room for parking, but it's still a through
There,
street.
so essentially the beer garden will be like out into the street.
Mhm.
So that's why we're putting cones up there to signify what the beer garden is.
Yep.
And then there will be motorcycle traffic through there. And with the cones, we kind of discourage vehicle traffic, just because there's people out there. The motorcycles aren't usually a problem.
Yeah.
That said, that goes to the end of our building, so Holton Homestead wouldn't be affected by that, other than if people park there. And that's a discussion that I had with Royce at the end of our last event, that they're going to put up no parking signs out there and everything, and they would take care of that end of it. Now, when we do our bigger event in the fall, we'll block that off. We'll control that by putting our bike show out there. He's okay with it as long as he's listed as secondary insured on our insurance, which he is, and we'll get that. I'll get that to Katie once I renew that here in the spring. Otherwise, I mean, we've already got our insurance copy and everything on file, so. So yeah, as far as the greens go, they should be fine with everything, because we're doing everything we discussed. Holton Homestead, I mean, this is a Saturday evening kind of deal.
Yeah.
So it really shouldn't affect them at all. The only time they really are affected by anything is the one we do in the fall, because that's harvest time, and that's when they're
Moving product in and out.
So, I never heard anything back from them, so I don't, again, and I know Royce copied them, and his response to me, and he copied them on it, so.
Okay.
Given that, I think everything's good to go.
Have you had pushback from anybody over the phone or emails? No?
Nothing like that. The Holton Homestead had some issues with our last one.
Yep.
And that's because they couldn't get in and out of their area.
That
They
was
also
the
found
timing.
out that they were using a lot more space that wasn't actually theirs.
Yep.
So kind of changed some things there, but again, we worked all of that out, so they're parking their big truck and everything behind their building right now. And then, then they utilize that space between us and the tracks so they can get in and out through there. And then when we do our event in the fall, we'll block off just the section. Royce is gonna go out there in the spring and he's gonna mark off the lanes that are supposed to be there. 2 of those lanes closest to our building are owned by Nathan at 10G. He gave us permission to put a band in that area. The one closest to Holton Homestead is theirs. So that 11 feet, we'll just section that off. And then that area, so if they have to get a fork truck out or wherever they fall, they can get in and out through there. So any issues that arose from our events, to the best of my knowledge, have all been discussed and resolved, and there shouldn't be any issues.
Were there, because I know I believe at the last one you just had the cones out as well, and I know it's a discourage for vehicle traffic, as you mentioned, but allowing bikes to come through. Were there any issues with that at all, as far as anybody trying to duck in, as far as in a vehicle versus just bikes, or?
The only people that really come through there with a vehicle are, like vendors or sound crew or whatever for the band.
Sure.
During setup and teardown.
During setup and teardown.
Yeah, I know that's not a very heavily traveled street as far as for
No,
residential or anything like that.
No, it's not. In fact, with my cameras, I turn those on, and they're honestly, the crazy part is on a weekend, there's got to be more traffic than what there's there, but they only, like this weekend, I think was the most usage, and it only recorded like 6 or 7 vehicles going down that street between Saturday and Sunday.
How many of them were snowplows?
Yeah.
Right.
About half. So
my only concern with that being, and I'm sure you understand where I'm going to go with this, is having just cones versus a road closed sign, but at the same time, you see where my concern lies, but.
Yeah. I mean, we can block it off.
Sure.
But ultimately, we do want the motorcycle traffic.
Correct.
And they're going to come through there, even if I put a road closure sign up.
Correct.
So if that's what you guys want, I could do that. We haven't had an issue with it in the past that I'm aware of. There hasn't been any issues with people going through with vehicles or whatever. And I don't really, like this event, most of it's going to be contained in our parking lot.
Okay.
I will have a food truck on our side over in that area, so there'll be people walking in and out around there. So, again, I've never had issues with motorcycle traffic. Everybody's watching for that. They're usually loud enough that people know that they're coming through anyway. And the band will be scheduled to end at 9,
okay,
which signifies everybody to
kind of
leave and get out, and then by 10 o'clock we'll have everything cleaned up. We don't even know anything happened, other than there may be a few straggler bikes parked out around. Stop that. And if they're parked uptown, bars or whatever, by that time, 2 o'clock in the morning, if they leave and they're doing a burnout down Main Street, that's not me.
Sure. Sure. Yeah, that comes down to just being a responsible bike rider. Yes. Yeah. I don't.
Well, I mean,
so.
I don't encourage that kind of behavior.
Sure.
I personally don't like it myself.
Only at the burnout competition.
So, well, that's different. That's a controlled environment.
I know. Yes.
But yeah, I mean, when I see guys
we're in agreement on that
down Main Street or wherever, I'm like, I don't like it, and the reason I don't like it is because if my daughter was out driving or whatever, 16-year-old, whatever, and something happens that could traumatize her.
Sure.
I'll get off my soapbox on that.
No, sarcastic comment from my end. We're on the same page on that one.
Yeah.
We are.
Yeah.
So
I mean, we want everybody to be safe.
absolutely.
That's what we're trying to do. But we want to have fun.
Sure. I understand that.
I was a little block away from this shop. The noise is non-existent. I mean, if you're right there, yeah, it can get loud, but like I said, I'm just a block away. I can barely hear anything from any of his events.
Okay.
2 more things, sir. One, when was your last event that you had?
The last one?
Yeah.
It was in September. I don't remember the exact date. It was the date of the Iowa State game. That's right.
So there was some complaints of like public urination and like standing out on 126 beyond the cone. So what is your plan to address? And I understand you're one man, right? You have
Yeah.
potentially hundreds of people that show up. What's your plan of action for that?
So I did catch wind about that.
Yep.
I heard about that. An officer come by,
Okay.
while we were out there talking, hosting the event and everything, said something to me about it. I addressed it.
I know you can't control everybody.
If I would have seen it firsthand, I would have stopped it.
Yeah.
I didn't. I mean, I addressed it the best that I could and discouraged people from doing that. In fact, I didn't know the individual that did it. I did find out after. At first, I didn't think it actually happened. I thought, somebody just thought they saw this. And then I found out afterwards that somebody come up and they're like, "Oh yeah, so and so did that. They get in trouble." I'm like, "Yeah, you got in trouble. What are you doing? Why would you do that?" That said, I know that type of activity happens on a regular Saturday night when the bars are open.
Yeah.
Again, I don't know. If you have suggestions on what I can do to discourage that and keep that from happening.
Because you have porta potties, right?
So I do.
Yeah.
And we will have one porta potty, and then we have a men's and women's bathroom inside the shop. So again, that was one of the announcements. When I made that announcement, I'm like, we have bathrooms. There's a porta potty right down at the end of the street.
Yeah.
Use the bathrooms like an adult and don't be an idiot, like just.
It may not be necessary, but, like, is that something on those nights where they have big events like that? We ask Polk County to patrol more often through there, just pass by and make sure people are on that side of the street, not in the roadway. Is that too much? Is that even something you think is necessary or?
One thing I can say to that, first off, with the permit policy, Polk County is aware of the event, so they know what's going on. And I always contact Polk County and let them know what's going on and that, that this event is happening. And I encourage them to send officers and have them walk down Main Street, have them walk, or not Main Street, but walk around our event a couple of times, drive by. Because whenever people see that, or they see a uniform walking through, it straightens people out pretty quick. They don't start engaging in this kind of activity. I've had people before come up to me at past events and ask, they're like, "Oh, county sheriff's walking around." I'm like, "Good." "Oh, what do you mean?" I said, "What's wrong with that?" So it keeps everybody honest that way. So yeah, so they are aware and they know what's going on. But I
You
think
don't usually see them during the event or anything.
I'm
I know you're
usually
busy.
all over the
Oh,
place,
yeah,
and there's
yeah.
enough people that know I haven't necessarily seen anybody.
Okay.
What I believe happened this particular time is there was a train going through. It was loud. We stopped the stereo competition because you can't do that when there's a train going through. There was traffic there, and I think what somebody did was, since everything had kind of, paused for a minute, they're like, "Oh, I'm going to run across the street," and they went out in the cornfield to take a leak and then come back. And I think somebody was sitting there in a vehicle waiting for the train and watched them go across. I don't know if they actually saw them go across, if they saw them walk across the street and assumed what they were doing, or if they actually saw them doing it. I don't know. But again, it wouldn't bother me if Polk County arrested them for public urination and whatever. I mean, because they're just being stupid when they do something like that.
They could have been checking the crowd.
Checking crowds.
So
Yeah,
my
that's- I'm sure
recommendation
that's what he's doing.
for you, sir, on this is, upon approval, or pending approval of the consent agenda, would be try to make it so that there's like a hardened barrier between, I know your property butts right up to 126, because that's like a big concern. Is like when we're driving by or whatever, we see people that are standing on the fog line of the highway and there's alcohol involved and things like that. Yeah, you're a very busy man at these events. You can't run around and babysit everybody. I don't know if there's something you can make like a barrier, like
We have that.
take the barriers instead
Yeah.
of cones.
So with that and with this one that we do in the spring, I take the buckets that the Betterment Committee has. We set those up all along that side because that's a major highway and I don't want people getting out into
Yeah.
So we set those up and then I put caution tape across there, so it's barricaded. It's just, you know, somebody decided to go across the barricade.
And I'm not trying to scrutinize you. I'm all for
Yeah, no,
having these
I
events. It's just,
understand. I mean,
just safety questions that I
yeah.
had about it before it went through the consent, so.
Again, I'm like, I honestly think this was a one-time deal.
Yeah.
Sure.
I don't anticipate this happening again. Now, if this obviously happens again and it's a problem, then in my mind, okay, we need to address something here. This is a major problem. I think this is just a one occurrence.
Yeah.
So, it sucks because, you know, I come to you guys to get permission to do these events and then somebody goes and does something like that. I'm like, we aren't gonna be able to have these if this kind of behavior continues to happen. So I don't like it any more than you do. And again, somebody walking across the street on a busy highway like that, something could happen. Somebody could get hit, especially if they've been drinking. Now, we only have beer. We don't serve hard liquor. We don't have any of that. If I see anybody bringing that in, I say something to them because I do have seen people bring their own booze in or whatever. I'm like, look, you can't have that. That's a violation of, you know, in-house, she can get in big trouble for that.
Mm-hmm.
We can get in trouble for it, you know, so I'm like, put it away. Don't, you know.
No, and I appreciate your due diligence on that part. And as to you, there's so much you can do. You are everywhere. You're entertaining, you're policing, you're there, all of these things. And I do appreciate your due diligence.
And my guys at work, I mean, they're the same way. I mean, they're walking around too. So if we see anything that's, you know, out of line or not, or, you know, we see somebody throwing crap out in the yard or whatever, we go pick it up, throw it away. We take care of it. We do that at the end of the night. You know, I would be willing to bet that at the end of our event, it's probably cleaner around the area than it is after Saturday night uptown by the bars. I mean, I see beer cans and bottles laying all over the place all
Beer
the time.
cans in my yard all the way
So-
down Main Resolution 2025-69, a resolution to approve the plat of survey creating parcel in the corporate limits of the city of Elkhart.
Foraker.
Second.
That wasn't a cue, but thank you. You guys are usually quick to it, I'm sorry. Now that we have that, thank you. Foraker. Aye. Hempler.
Aye.
Campbell. Aye. Fordyce. All right. Letter B, resolution 2025-70, a resolution designating the official depositories for the city of Elkhart for 2026.
So this is just amending our existing resolution to provide that we are placing funds into iPay along with Community State Bank. So this week we will make that deposit of those restricted fire funds to start investing those on a daily liquid rate, so.
Which is proven to be beneficial with the other stuff we've done.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it'll be very beneficial to get as much interest as possible.
Questions, comments? If not, you guys know what to do.
Motion to approve resolution 2025-70.
Seconded.
There we go. Foraker.
Aye.
Edler.
Aye.
Campbell.
Aye.
Fordyce.
Aye.
Letter C, discussion and possible action regarding waiver of November 2025, utility late fees.
Yes, so, there is a chart with the memo that you guys were sent in the packets. Because we changed softwares this month, it's been a little bit rocky. We've had several people ask about, if we're gonna potentially consider a one-time waiver. I do think in this instance, because the city initiated a change, it was unfamiliar. I do think it would be appropriate in this sense, just because we're not gonna change software often. And they did go through the process of getting their auto pay set up and everything. It was just a short turnaround, so.
There's quite a few people asking. I haven't seen it in
Yeah.
notice, or I see an email, but I haven't seen the login information or whatever. it
Yeah,
was.
it's been a learning experience, so.
I think that'd be appropriate to, waive the fees for them.
As a one-time, correct?
As a one-time, yes, as a one-time.
Just every November. Okay, you guys are good with that? Technical issue again, sorry, I'm trying to fix that.
Alright, motion to approve, the waiving of the late fees for November 2025 utility.
Seconded.
I think it's recorded. Foraker.
Aye.
Edler.
Aye.
Campbell.
Aye.
Fordyce.
Aye.
Okay.
Next one.
Yeah, I need to do something better here. Issues again, like last month. I don't know what's going on. My apologies. At least it's not required.
Did the audio die again?
Yeah, I think so. It looks like I'm still getting it through the webcam at least, but I don't know what's going on.
Just talk really loud.
What? Letter D, motion to accept resignation and determine process to fill council vacancy. Can we skip this one? Councilmember Campbell has submitted his resignation as of the end of the year. We appreciate everything you've done so far for the last couple of years, and as you were mayor prior to that, and wish you nothing but the best in your future endeavors.
I appreciate it. I've accepted new employment that conflicts with these schedules, so.
You still stay like in town, no?
Yep. So, it was not an easy decision. Over the last few years, we've been through a lot of change, a lot of good change. We've made some really good new additions over the last few years, built a lot of good relationships. And I know, I'm confident that you guys will continue everything moving forward. So I hope that, the selection of the next person to fill my vacancy is well thought out, and that you guys come together as a team to figure that out.
Very good. So with that, I know Katie had sent along, we have to accept.
You get accepted.
Yeah, yes, that's
I would like to avoid.
Again, I don't
special
want to
action.
do that.
That's all possible.
So let's get the motion, first part out of the way, the motion to accept the resignation.
A motion to accept the resignation of Brad Campbell ending December 2025.
Yes, you literally can, but I was saying no.
Foraker.
Aye.
Edler.
Aye.
Campbell.
Aye.
Fordice.
Aye.
Wait for me.
I was
Yeah, I was
gonna say.
That's why I laughed. Be kind of weird, but.
So then the second part of that then, process of, to fill the council vacancy, we basically, well, not basically, we have two options. One of them would be,
Out of curiosity, I don't wanna do a special election, but what did it cost us to have a special election last? I don't wanna do it, I'm just curious how much
I
that-
don't know how much your last election cost, but I contacted the office and they said we'd be looking at around 2,500.
Well, that's not as bad as I thought, but I would like to fill it without doing that.
Yes.
Absolutely.
so that would be the other option.
The two options are appointed by council, so the council may interview interested individuals and appoint a qualified person to serve until the next regular election. The vacancy must be filled within 60 days of its occurrence, so 60 days after December 31st, because that's when we accept it. Public notice must be published before the appointment meeting. This notice informs electors of the council's intent to fill the vacancy by appointment if we choose to go that route, and the citizens' right to petition for a special election. The petition for a special election must be filled within 14 days of the appointment. Special election, we can call for one, and then obviously the voters could choose a replacement at a cost of around $2,500, and it cannot be held 4 weeks prior or 4 weeks after a primary or general election. So obviously Katie put together this document, and the financial consideration is there as a cost, for any of the vacancies, and obviously if we did special election, then her recommendation, just read it since I'm reading it, is the council determine filling the vacancy via appointment at the January council meeting, so that would give us, a month from today-ish,
Yeah.
give or take, with holidays and stuff, to allow people to apply, like we've done in the past, and then 2 council members can meet with them, or we can have them, just submit the letters and all come to the meeting if they'd like. However you guys want to do it, but our goal is to work together, because it's a super majority, correct? 3 out of 4 of the seated council members would have to agree on who that person would be, in order to pass it. And then if somebody wanted to contest that, they can. There's a survey, I don't remember how many signatures it was needed. Petition.
There's a percentage.
Yeah, it's a percentage of the population, but I figured we just had an election as well. I'm not assuming your intent's, Rob, but we just had an election, so I just ask you now, are you gonna reapply? If not, fine, but I'm curious, put you on the spot, you don't have to answer right now, but.
They haven't decided.
Perfect. So if he decides to, there's other people out there, but the citizens voted not that long ago, and you got a lot of votes and a lot of support as well. But I'm sure there's people in our community that would be willing to step up and apply for the position and be considered, and we'd be happy to have everybody. So,
How soon can we get that out?
tomorrow.
I think that's what we should do.
I just have a
Yes,
smart ass
accept the
comment to
resignation.
make.
Go, go.
So no one's going on vacation to Minnesota, right?
Okay. I knew that one. And that's why I wanted to read the process out this time. Because I think one of the things that we've worked really hard to do as a council is learn from the past and try to do things the right way, try to do things the legal way, try to do things as above board as humanly possible at all times. From cost control measures to the stuff we talked about with code enforcement. And that's why I wanted to make it a point to say it's incumbent upon us. We may not all 4 agree on one person, but it's incumbent upon us to make sure we can appoint someone that we can all agree on.
Yeah.
That can meet the requirements, even if that person might be your second choice when they're my first choice, or my third choice when they're your first choice. And that's our job, is to select the best person we possibly can. And if we decide that we can't do it as a council, it's just gonna cost us extra money and put us in an awkward position and destabilize things that we've worked hard to achieve. So hopefully the people who want to be involved express their interest, and we'll see what pool of candidates. Now, if we don't get any interest before the January meeting, then we'll have to reach back out and Polk County and see what, because we have 60 days to fill it, or we pay fines.
I'll try my best to get,
You'd have through the February meeting.
Through the February meeting, so.
Would you put out like a 2-week deadline or something to, everybody
if I
has to
can
have
get it
their?
posted tomorrow, they would have until
Yep.
like the 15th, when I send packets out in January.
Okay.
So, yeah, almost a month.
Yeah, so hopefully it works out the way that we think it can, and we can all have good conversations. conversations around it.
I'm going to Florida in the not so distant future with my wife and wife only. Does that count?
We're taking the dogs.
Well, no, but just logistically, if you don't appoint someone, by the time people fill out nominating papers and you get the election, you're looking at what, April, before that election
Yeah.
can be held, so.
No, yeah, we want to get it done.
I mean, appointments, the most logical.
Oh,
So,
absolutely.
it's just, it was such a cluster.
Absolutely.
There was a learning experience in the past that you took me able to build on.
Do you want a motion and a second then as far as the adoption? Okay, so a motion and a second to, for the option number 1 for appointment by council. Can I get that from you guys? Somebody? Anybody?
I motion
No, there you go.
for somebody, for the council to come together as a team to appoint an applicant versus a special election.
I second it.
Foraker? Aye. Walton?
Aye.
Campbell? Aye. Portis?
Aye.
Good. Letter E then, motion to proceed with litigation to pursue recovery of damages for the Elk Run Plat 2 project.
So this is just an action item, based off of our discussion during the last meeting, of how you wanted to proceed with the situation. So,
I would like to make a motion to proceed with litigation to pursue recovery of damages for the Elk Run Plat 2 project.
second that.
Were there any comments or anything, or was that what you were going
No,
for?
we pretty much discussed it last
Yeah.
time, and I think we all were on the same understanding this is what we wanted to do, so.
No, I guess we can't comment on it, so. Foraker? Aye. Edmund?
Aye.
Campbell? Aye. Portis?
Aye.
Okay, very good. Number 11, discussion items. A, set date for the 2026 council workshop / goal session meeting. This is something that I had brought up to Katie, desire of mine. I know with holidays coming up, and then we have the tax levy and such meetings that, end of December, not exist again, end of January coming up. Similar to what we did last November, all of us sit down and get together as far as the goals that we all discussed last November. Do we believe we're still on track for those? What have we accomplished out of those? Are those still in the correct priority order? Do we deem them to be in the correct priority order? That's kind of what I want to do. So I don't know what anyone's availability is. If we can even do one early mid-January, or obviously not you.
I'm good at it.
Oh yeah. You're on schedule. Wide open.
Yeah, I usually, I think we'll be
Little short notice on my part, and I will apologize about that for not getting that out sooner, but just something that I was wanting to do, more or less, again, just reconfirming where we're at, welcome in, all that good stuff, so. I don't have any proposed dates, but if anything in January, either before or shortly after the council meeting would work, or
like the week of January 12th.
I think that could work.
So we already have in January, let's make sure we cover motion to set the, what are we gonna call it?
Goal session.
Motion to set the 2026 council workshop goal session meeting for January 20th, 2025. What? 2026, sorry, at 5:30 p.m. Foraker? Aye.
I know.
This is last
It
meeting.
doesn't apply for two of us.
Yeah.
I know, it's odd.
I guess I'm voting on behalf of Angie. Because you need more than two votes, so.
Yeah. You can still tell us what to do, like, I can be here. Use I, Heather. Nice. Very good. Let's see here, so then, that takes us to letter B, citywide cleanup day.
Yes, so I wanted to get your guys' thoughts on this. So, I grabbed quotes from Vacancy Sanitation and Garbage Guys, and I wanted to see what your thoughts are on doing an annual cleanup, if you want to do one again this spring. If you don't, we did curbside pickup this year. It was significantly more expensive than doing roll-offs. Did it go smoothly though? It did. I think we had a lot of positive feedback. Because it's convenient. A lot of people are able to get rid of their things. And I think one of the reasons we did that was because of code enforcement, just providing that service. So, we can do curbside again, we can do roll-offs. I have four, so Ankeny Sanitation came back with the lowest prices again. And they provided 4 dates in the spring if we want to set a date.
What is Ron Gray's opinion about this?
So this past year I talked to Ron and he really, I mean, we don't have to do anything if it's curbside.
That's what I mean, that's.
So,
Yeah.
I think they would probably prefer that rather than having a monitor up there, but it's more expensive.
What was the separation between the cleanup, but then there was one for tires as well?
That's free, yeah.
Okay.
The tire thing is free.
Can they do those at the same
Yeah,
time?
we can.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I think some people felt that they missed out on the tire one, right? Is that how it went?
Okay.
Or something?
Yeah, if we set a date, I can ask to see if that same date is available for the tire.
Yeah, I heard rumblings that the dumpsters were picked up too early or something.
Like
I can't confirm
yeah,
that. I wasn't
that's what
around.
it was. I just remembered to bring that up. I didn't know. Okay. So yeah, what are the
Yeah.
cost differences are X? Y, Z?
So, as far as like the roll-offs, it was like a $50 difference per hour. And then it was about $15 difference for,
Total costs.
yeah. Ankeny Sanitation came in under.
And what was the cost for that, for curbside versus, roll-off? For Ankeny Sanitation?
They can't really give you a specific, like, quote.
It depends on how many
But for-
because you have to pre-sign up for that apparently.
For history
No, we didn't do
purposes,
that.
Do we not?
for
do that?
We did not
instance,
do pre-sign up.
Okay.
we spent $3,300 on curbside this year. In 2023, we did roll-offs for $1,400. In 2022, we did roll-offs for $1,300. 2021, $900. So,
Plus two guys floating hours are coming in.
Yes.
Right.
yeah.
I thought curbside, I mean, if we have it in our budget to do curbside, I think it ran pretty smoothly. I think it helped out Ron and Rick a lot, and I think if we can swing it, then I think we should do it that way, in my opinion.
Okay. And you want it to be a service, completely paid by the city to the residents? I'm just confirming.
I don't know.
You had brought up to me after the fact, because I think we had discussed on it as far as, that's not a common thing.
It's not, yeah, I would say most of the communities around here, they have
On
a
their bill.
charge on their utility bill for it.
For those to sign up for it.
I don't think they even have to sign up for it,
So
it's
then we
just,
just say, we're gonna do it, here's a fee you gotta pay, whether you use the service or not.
yeah, that's basically
But what if
they do.
they use garbage guys, not Ankeny Sanitation, how do they bill them for that?
So most of the communities so they're on a contract, and that's who does their cleanup day. So that's the difference there. We allow our residents to use whatever vendor they want.
I don't think that we should just do a blanket, have the citizens pay for it, because who knows how many people are gonna use it versus not.
Can we pay like half and then they would have a very minimal charge? Is that even a thing?
We could figure that out, definitely, if you wanna do something like that. We have some time.
A discussion item to bring up.
So instead of it costing them, say $50, it would cost them like $25. Cause I think if we charge it all to the homeowner, I don't know if we'd have anybody do it, you know, or as many people do it, which is still okay. But there's a way to meet in the middle. I don't know if that's even,
First, I don't wanna guess how much it would cost per household, 50 or 25, cause it might be like 8 or 12 or something, you know what I
right,
mean? But
right, I'm just saying.
the second thing would be is, I think if we're going to do it, I think gauging community interest before spending the money. And it could be as simple as setting up a Google form, like if you use Ankeny sanitation, or not, I guess, but if you are interested in this and you knew it cost $10, fill in your name and your property address here, whatever it would be. Or, I've actually floated the idea in the past, maybe that's something that we could ask Betterment Committee for some funding for, or something like that, cause it's taking place, they've asked for different projects to fund. It's just an idea. It's just an idea, I'm not saying they want to, just throwing it out there. But something like that, or we pay for it this year with the sign up going out as well and saying, okay, if you used it, yes or no, did you think it was worth it? Would you pay $10 for it again? Something like that. Like,
You're saying if you've used it in the past, or if you're going to?
if you're going to use it again next year, like, do you want this to continue? If you knew this was going to cost you $10 a person, a household next year, would you use it again? Like, cause, otherwise the city is paying for it right now, which is coming from taxes, which are coming from you. So like,
Right.
how do you want us to continue to pay for this? And maybe we run it back this year the way we did it last year, but then we put out.
What if we put out a survey in January, get
That's what I'm saying.
feedback, and then
Yeah.
decide?
That's my point, yeah, exactly.
Cause that goes
Google
back
forms are
to,
super easy to set up.
Yeah, we can do that. The only thing, these dates will get taken quickly, so I don't know. They gave me April 11th, April 18th, May 16th, June 6th to choose from.
And we ended up doing it in like
June, like late.
it was late June, and it was sweaty June, that's all I can remember. It was sweaty June.
Better than what it is right
So I don't know if we wanna just like tentatively accept a date through that, and then I can put a game plan together for how we wanna.
Yeah, maybe the June 6th one then, since it's towards the end of it, that gives us more time.
because that goes back to Mr. Pitts' point, he's not here anymore, but as far as the better things that we could be spending money on versus if
Right.
I hate to turn around and charge it back, but at the same time,
If people want it, then they might have to pay for it.
exactly,
Right.
something like this, I think is definitely do we do this annually, do we do this semi-annually, and we get that feedback and we go off of that, so, I would agree with, we go ahead and set the date,
Okay,
but then, we can always cancel it.
yeah.
We can't not set the date and then get it if it disappears, so, if that works for you, your decision.
Yeah,
but,
I'm fine with that.
So informational surveys in January
with a date for June 6th.
with the date of June 6th.
And can we maximize that if we're gonna do a Google form? Can it be like several different options and not, like, is there anything else that we want feedback on? Or we can just do it all at once, so it's not,
Yes, but no, let's keep it separate, then you get the people voting on, because otherwise it gets out of hand and then they share it with their friends to try to skew votes, and I've had that happen many times.
okay.
Quick question for Mr. Tess.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say,
Or comment or whatever you got.
it's gotta be quick. So, do we know how many households participated last year?
That's what the survey's probably gonna determine,
So,
if you've used this in the past.
Yeah, well, I know last year, the morning there was a lot of chatter going on Facebook, what time do they start? And they started at 6:30. And I don't think Ankeny had let the city know what time they were gonna start, so the city never put out a time. So I think if you front loaded it with, have your crap ready to go by 6:30 in the morning. And, one, people know, so there's no bitching about that. But two, if we're gonna use the code enforcement, let's make a heavy emphasis on, hey, we've noticed this stuff in your yard, June 6th is your compliance date, have it out on your curb, you know. So, well, I mean, if the goal of this is to help make the
That's what we
city
said, we
look.
literally said that in our post last year, like, here are the things that we're going to be emphasizing, so you're spot on.
Yeah.
Did that.
So, but, I mean,
We can work with you, Harrison, as it leads up to that too, if you're noticing an excess of something, just let us know, like, okay, I'm seeing a dearth of whatever, you can put it in there.
Yeah, no, I'm
Well-
perfectly fine with setting dates with people, hey, this is the junk day, get rid of it, have to keep this time.
That'd
So
be a good
I'm perfectly
resolution
fine
to some of the
with
issues.
how that works out.
and Katie, I'd ask you, would this just be non-organic stuff? I mean, metal, glass, anything?
There's a
They have a
list.
whole list.
There's a whole list that
So-
they
But I know
provide
it's
us.
But
not
it-
yard waste,
Not like scrap metal.
Yeah,
You
I was gonna say,
Part
cause
of
I
that
asked
is
you if we
not
could do
scrap
something for
metal, yeah,
yard
and
waste
code
too.
enforcement, But you
So-
can't get
I
rid of
can
it
check on,
with this
I don't,
cleanup date, so
And I
that's
can't-
kind of the problem.
I can't recall if we had that discussion or not last time as far as the Bill was talking about the scrap metal, to be able to get rid of that. I don't know if
They
there's.
specifically did not take that,
It's
so if
gonna
we're
be
trying to
gone
push it for
before
code
the county
enforcement.
goes forever, right? But as far as like, is there an option to, hey, I've got this pile of stuff, I wanna get rid of it, is there an option to do so, but at the same time, it's one of those, we can't provide every single thing, but at the same
Right.
time, if there's an option, maybe that's a question worth asking, is there any option for any scrap metal pickup or anything like that?
Well, I mean, I know a guy that they bring out a trailer
Right.
that would just take it off for free for you, but I'm just saying, like, I know
We can put that on
they
the,
wouldn't pick up scrap metal, that wasn't part of the item list,
Mhm.
and so if we're pushing, hey, you can put your junk out for this day, but they're not actually gonna pick it up because they won't take the scrap metal, that's what I'm saying.
I was appreciative of the service last year.
Yeah, yeah,
I
me too.
partook, I had plenty of stuff out there. It was a little hurt when people went through my junk. It was really junk, no one took anything, so.
I'd say let's see if that's an option at all, and maybe include that on the survey if it's an option as far as are we interested in scrap metal collection, if that's even an option or a service that anybody provides, I don't know.
That'd be a separate service.
Correct.
What we'd have to do is probably have junk cleanup day from 6 to 7, whatever, 6 to 8, 6 to 10, whatever, 8 sanitation's in town for 5 hours, and then put your scrap metal out by noon because someone's coming between noon and 3. And if it ain't picked up by 3, it ain't getting picked up, so put it back away before Harrison shows up. Because Harrison's coming at 4.
Well, then, just put them in separate piles.
Well, but some people,
I got
best intentions, and then Ankeny goes, well, I can't get to the stuff
Right.
because they put their scrap metal on top of it, so.
People would be
It's
so
gonna be-
cooperative, Brad, if you,
We probably wouldn't even need to have anybody pick up the scrap metal if you made a post on Facebook or something that said, hey, people are gonna have scrap metal possibly sitting out on the curb. Hey, garbage is.
Yeah, don't even arrange somebody coming.
No, like,
Yeah, just talk about it.
all the time. Grab mine, take them all up before you.
Yeah, that's inviting some variance that I'm not comfortable with, but I appreciate that.
Hey, Polk County. Very good then, so we've got the January 6th, or June 16th. Letter C then, levy rate / budgets.
Yes, so, I might have Vince join in on this conversation, because you're here, I think, for part of it, but
Thanks for sticking it out, being a trooper, appreciate it.
I wanted to start the conversation because we're getting into budget next month. And I was looking at getting started on the CIP and our 0 to 2 year projects that you guys identified. I wanted to know, what are we thinking about? What types of projects do we want to do this upcoming year? And if we do have one, what it is, and then I can go back to our financial advisors and see what our levy rate would look like if we took on.
Isn't that part of goal setting?
Yeah, but I wanna start the preliminary process of putting the budget together and just kind of preparing the CIP as much as I can right now.
Do we have that list of some of the things that, I tried looking for it in emails, I couldn't
Oh.
find it.
Yeah, so I can read like the 0 to 2 year
Yeah.
projects, yeah. So I have it here,
Thank you.
we had stormwater improvements phase 2. And then
No, it's not.
we had water service to the wastewater treatment plant. And then we had Memorial Park ball field improvements. Those were the 3 that we defined. I have been working with VNK a little bit on the stormwater project. I didn't know if that would interest you guys
improvements we've seen with what's already been done, because it's anecdotal driving around town. Since the east branch has been done, the ponds, it's starting to feed into there. A lot of the feedback we get from Public Works is about infiltration, more so than ponding at this point. My backyard is a overflow, and I mean, there was times where it'd come up to the back of our house years ago, and it doesn't even come close to that now. It's much improved, but that's anecdotal. Like, I'm not saying it's gallons per minute.
Right.
I'm not an engineer. I have heard, again, anecdotally, I've heard less complaints from the center part of town between Grant and the area that was done. But yet there is still that section, as everybody knows, the homeowners came, where there's a bunch of ponding around that curve because they screwed up some cistern or something when they were digging that. So it was set originally in our CIP to be 27, 28, like the OG CIP, this phase two, so it was supposed to be coming up. But that was also before the water treatment plant was really decided. That was before a lot of other things. So I don't know, Travis, question for you as well, engineering. How do we assess El Nino, La Nina, the 100-year storm definitions have changed, the 10-year storm definitions have changed. It's drier, but then it's more severe now, and insurance rates are going insane because it can flood tomorrow, and you get the point. So how do we assess the success of what we already have, other than just being like, yeah, it doesn't feel like it floods as much as it used to, while also considering that we can't do anything on the west side of town until we do the center, and I think the biggest issues we have left are on the west side. Because that is where most of the ponding takes place. And out of the 3 phases, if I remember correctly, the cost projections for the west side of town were 2 to 3x what the other 2 pieces were combined, because it included curb and gutter, new drainage tiles. We're talking like ripping into easements and a lot of dirt being brought in and moved around, and almost a complete reformation of the entire road system on this side of town, paving things that aren't paved. There was a lot to it, and this was preliminary 5 years ago, 6 years ago. So if we don't ever do the middle, we can't ever do the west, because water goes that way in our town. That's just how it works. So those are all the considerations when we ask the question of, like, does it need to be the 27-28 budget year? I think the bigger question is, if it is the 27-28 budget year, then when is the west side? Is that 31-32, or can that be 29-30, right? And we get into how much we're borrowing and levies and existing debt and the emails you've sent out on that. Those are the considerations. So it's a long-winded way of saying, I don't think it's as easy as just saying, yes, let's do it in 27 or 28 until we have a better understanding of success of what we have in place, what's the long-term plan to get the west side done, and then how have the storms changed, how have the needs of the town changed. So feel free to jump in on any of that.
Yeah, that's a lot of, right, off the top of my head, those can be hard to answer.
No, that's fine.
But they are valid points. You've got flows to your wastewater plant, and during a rain event, you can correlate, based on per capita usage during a dry time. So you can see what's been infiltration.
Well, and Ron and Rick would tell you, correct.
Yep.
And they're telling you right now that, I don't want to be facetious to the amount of time, but a lot of their time during a rain event is essentially managing the pumps so that they don't all back up and flood our houses with crap water. So if we're there, doing phase 2 would help with that and alleviate that, and we could address the infiltration and re-shoeing, or what do they call it, sleeving, re-sleeving the inputs, then yeah, I think that becomes more urgent. But if those are 2 completely separate projects, then.
Right, and my understanding of phase 2 is that's more so feed everything to the old lagoons, right? Is that, okay?
It's basically taking everything from Grant to where it was done last time, so about 3 blocks, and bringing it all to the north to bring it into that pipe that's between the daycare, kind of under that little road area, and then shooting it down, and then bringing the stuff that was coming from the east and fixing all that so it doesn't pond down by the cemetery and all.
Right, and that should help, right? If it's not getting into people's homes, if you're fixing pipes, the water's not getting everywhere underground where you can't see it, or fixing people's services where it's coming up. But yeah, I don't have a great way off the top of my head to quantify my yard, other than anecdotally.
Yeah, I know, that's the problem.
Yeah, now other people might have a better idea. I think Jordan is probably the main point, working on that. I hate to say, or Jordan can tell you that.
No, that's fair.
he
though.
might be able to give you better.
Is that something that can be done before their goal setting meeting on the 20th of January?
I think so.
To revisit the zero
Yeah,
clubs?
he'd be able to get you better info, yeah.
Because I think we have two choices to make in the short term. We put way too much time into this in the past, sorry, it's still like in my head, because it was a real problem for a long time. There's two different things. One is phase two, as it was more or less getting it all to the main pipe to get it into lagoons, so that it wasn't ponding people's yards or ending up in the pumps, right? But the second part of that is, which we discovered after, is the sleeving issue, where a lot of the homes that were sleeved, it's leaking out, right, and it's going into the sanitary. So we need to address the sleeving and let Ron and Rick sleep at night when it rains, if we're going to do the project to get it up. I'd like to see, if you wanna relay it back to Jordan, kind of like, what could we do to remedy both at the same time? Or does he think that just doing phase two the way that because they have plans for it, it's already drawn up. If they think that doing it the way they had drawn it up would alleviate enough of it that we don't need to go re-sleeve right away. Does that make sense? Okay.
Okay. No, and I saw he's got a figure drawn of it, I don't know how detailed it is.
Okay. It's been a while since we've really pushed for it, so.
Yeah, I haven't seen like really in-depth, like specifications, I don't think.
Right, you might have an overall figure, which is pretty, gives you a good idea.
Yeah.
But as far as,
Right.
look at block by block.
And I know you've been looking into funding sources already and checked with the DNR, correct? Because as far as what
Yeah, they
qualifies
just, we've been talking about it and they did suggest we go phase 2 and 3 together, for the funding opportunity, so.
Right, yeah, as I understand it, right, it's not a guaranteed thing.
Right.
And yeah, it's hard to forecast what's gonna be there next year, the year after.
What I would say is whatever breadth of options you can provide us with before that goal setting meeting, we should take a look at and see, maybe it is 2 and 3 at the same time, maybe it's just the sleeving for a while and then it's 2 and 3 in 2 years, you get the point. Because we haven't raised the property tax levy in 3 budget years, we're kinda holding the line on that, but I don't know how much longer we can hold it if we wanna alleviate the issue, and I know flooding in this city is an issue. I don't think anybody would disagree.
Yeah, Jill had just shared a video of me on somebody's backyard, I forget what intersection.
On Lincoln and Maine. So, funny story is, my daycare used to be there, and when I was a kid, this is 30 years ago, we used to swim in the backyard when it would flood. And so I had talked to her, they're the house that has the camper inside the fence on Maine and Lincoln, do you know which one I'm talking about? Maple and Lincoln, yes, and, she sent me a video that was just a couple months ago, and the whole backyard is just flooded all the way up to the deck.
And some of that may be correctable issues that already
Right.
exist, some of it is gonna be, you want that fixed, but also we might have to dig a hole.
Yes.
And a whole lot of holes, and a lot of pavement, and a lot of dirt moving, and I also say this with the utmost respect, you're sitting here, but I think it's incumbent upon us to make sure we're working with different companies as well to take a look and get more than just one idea on solutions to problems. It's not a slight towards you guys in any way, shape, or form. I think each firm has a unique set of skills, and I know Jordan is really well versed with stormwater and wastewater management, so, but I think it'd be interesting to see kind of if there's any other conversations or if there's any other resources we can either pool to use with them or pool to you get the point.
Okay.
So, but again, I don't mean that in like a negative way, I just understand, because when we're spending that much money, we can't just have one bid, unfortunately, that's not how this works, it used to be. It's just not.
I get it.
And then as far as the water service line, I think that was like $100,000 off the top of my head.
He had 250,
Okay, so, well, it probably was more expensive every
2-inch water service line.
And that was just something that was overlooked when the wastewater, or the surface, it's a lot cheaper and easier to find as well, even though it performs really well. That wasn't field two, that wasn't putting a fence out there to make a third field, that was none of that. That was just one field was over 150,000. And that was a year ago. It was cold out when we had that come, and it was this time. So where do you guys think that fits into the priorities? I know we have someone from Parks here who can maybe answer that from what they're talking about. Parks meetings in the past too, I know they talked about baseball fields. What do you guys think?
I mean, it'd be nice to have all those things updated, but I just don't know if that's our right now. Like, we need that right now. There's other things that need more attention than that right now, but I'm not saying we shouldn't look for grants and other things that
That's
can
what
help
they're
that.
doing, yeah.
So I think that's the route we should travel is grants on that stuff, or we focus on.
What is the investment to having engineering or someone looking at plans or starting to make spec plans? Is there a heavy investment on the front end of that to look into? How does that work? Well, no, to say, okay, it's gonna cost $150,000 to do X, Y, and Z. It's gonna cost $350,000 if you want the luxury.
Yeah, I mean, to do that.
But I don't know what the upfront investment to that is. Okay.
I think infrastructure, what little meeting our words have left this last meeting, infrastructure is priority.
I agree.
Over even just entertaining the idea of getting somebody out there to figure out what's other than fields. Because it's been a can that we've been kicking down the road for.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But it's because of budgets.
Yeah.
Council, are you?
Oh, yeah. He has it's still at 178,000.
So that's kind of we're in agreement on as far as definitely the infrastructure prioritized over the ball field or whatever like that. Still do what we can, where we can, absolutely, but as far as where priority and everything's.
Okay, yeah.
Just
I
make-
will try and I'll do some more research and bring some more. But are you guys, I mean, how do you feel overall the levy rate?
With the amount of projects that we have going, we purposely took a year off essentially from
Yeah.
capital projects because we knew that this flood water plan was coming.
Okay.
So if we can get one option that shows the phase 2 and kind of the connections and sleeving, and then one option that's phase 2 and 3, but it's rolled out appropriately, I think I would be more than interested in seeing what that would look like and what the levy rate impact would be.
Okay.
Although you also mentioned in your email about potential utility bill increases to help offset that, and so we need to look at the chart of what we already voted on that and kind of where that was supposed to go next year, obviously.
Yeah. I can do that.
Because, I don't want to, again, take words or put words in their mouth, but Brad, you've told me this more than once, that there's been multiple nights in the last 2 or 3 years where half the city's homes should have been in, I'll use crap water instead of the words you used, but this should have been in crap water if Ron and Rick wouldn't have spent their time making sure the pumps were running and bringing in backup pumps, and we've upgraded pumps and things like that, but they essentially, every time it rains, they pucker up pretty tight because they know we might be in trouble. And if we can start to work to offset that and save a catastrophe in the future by raising the tax levy and potentially asking, for higher, I think that might be a good way to spend money. Because it's definitely a public service at that point.
And also as a reminder, Polk County Emergency Management is not gonna be part of our budget because they are going to start levying themselves.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I reached out to him first, just to get an idea of what he was talking about.
Interesting.
It's a bit ironic, don't you think, potentially having to raise the tax levy rate as far as
Water levy, yes. I think we made some levy jokes last time, I remember right.
It's very, very poor irony, but it's
So let's,
there.
I think those, would you guys agree, those would be the two things to look
Yes.
into, kind of the wholesale 2 and 3, and also just the 2, plus maybe sleeving and fixing, and, cause I know when they mentioned the sleeving and fixing, there was going to be a lot of digging that was gonna need to take place. Pretty much every right of way in the entire center of town was gonna have to be torn out and redone.
So
help you? Was that worth you staying here for an hour and 42 minutes?
Great answer. Very good. Thank you, everybody. On to number 12 then, reports of elected officials, city staff, and standing committees. Mr. Warker.
Right, well, it's been a relatively quiet month for Polk County Emergency Management, in that there's no quarterly meeting. But they do have, when it's extreme cold, they do have, set up the warming shelters. That ended, I believe, at noon today. Now we're warmer for the rest of the week. So, but then also something else that they do, which doesn't get as much press, is like, say somebody has a house fire, they'll come out and help them coordinate with the Red Cross, get them into hotel housing, and take care of all of that stuff. So just regular stuff that emergency management does.
Awesome. Now, I'll take a moment, and so as far as officially, since this is your last meeting, depending on what happens in the next couple months or whatever, if you choose to put your name back in the hat, whatever, but thank you for your service for the last few years and everything you brought to council and the updates, and we definitely appreciate it. It's not goodbye, but it's thank you.
Still be around.
Absolutely, absolutely. Jeff?
Midwest Waste Authority, their meeting's not till this week, it's Wednesday, so I don't have a report back from them. But the cemetery board did meet in November the 20th, and we discussed that we still have to kind of look into, they really want to plot some more plots out there. I think, it still needs more investigation. They realize, we let them know it still needs more investigation. We don't want to just be cutting holes in the ground and, expecting the best. But, and then they did their elected officials. They reviewed their elected officials. I think that's pretty much all.
Yep. Angie is not here. Do we have anything to touch on from Parks? I know we've got a Parks representative here as well, if she wanted to say anything, as she loves being put on the spot like that, but.
I have some. Go for it. Well, I don't care. Yeah, they held 2 meetings in November, and one of them was a goal setting workshop. And so they assigned their 4 members to 4 of their strategic goals to focus on and basically lay those out. And they also, you guys are presenting to ECBC, I think, for their donation for some, they put together some projects or some ideas to ask for ECBC's donation towards, so, good idea.
Very good. I was able to sit in on the cemetery meeting as well with Jill. I tried to, it's been a while since I've been in one of those, so I won't touch on that any longer. Sat on the ECBC meeting as well, and not city related, but as far as just sitting on it. Had an opportunity to take that was an online course for, remind me here, open meeting laws and everything. So it was a very good refresher to sit in on that and get the certification out of that, so. And then something else, and I'm drawing a blank on it now. No, that's all I got. So staying in touch close with, I know we've chatted with you on a couple things regarding snowfall and snow removal and things of that nature, and then speaking with Ron and Rick and kind of driving around and just making, seeing how the roads are and things of that nature. And the guys do a phenomenal job of that, so. Yes, yes, like Mythbusters. We'll elaborate on that, but no, that's really all I have at this time, so.
Ron and Rick and our part-time employees been super busy plowing snow, cleaning up days afterwards. A couple of trucks got fixed, they're having issues with. I know Ron's talked to you about this before, but acquisition of ground north of the city workshop.
Yeah.
Is a pretty big priority of theirs, especially when we start talking about screening and running out of space and where can we put items and things like that. So I think that would be something to revisit here maybe in the springtime. And it's just continuity for our future. They're not gonna be around here forever, so we'll
larger, bigger truck, larger equipment, things of that nature, but it comes down to, again, what you just mentioned, where do we keep it, how do we house it, how do we things like that, so.
Because 126 is ours, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
And Polk County just helps us out.
there's a maintenance agreement.
yeah, we have a maintenance agreement with them, so I do believe they do plow. They're supposed to.
Sure, yeah.
That- Okay. But they suck at it. I'm sorry, but it's true.
Yeah, so they do that. Is there ever gonna be a point in time where we take over 126? That was just.
If we have the truck, that was where it was years
Yeah.
ago. If we have the truck, we can do that and not have to pay them the $50,000. It's a lot, I know that.
I know there's
I
additional
shouldn't say
things
that number, I don't
included in that maintenance agreement, like filling
Correct.
tires and stuff like that. So-
It's not just plowing.
Yeah, yeah.
It would require us to have a full-size plow truck,
Yeah.
but then I think the conversation around that was, is it's really only good for that road then, and that was the problem at the time, is that we had, without curving on the west side of town, it was gonna be too big maybe to use on the west side of town at one point, but I can talk to them about that in the nearest future. As far as acquiring the land, I know we've spoken to Jenna about that in the past as part of their next chunk of development, and they've expressed interest that there may be 5 acres over there that they could work with us on, so.
He's talked to me about that multiple times. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll ask her again.
Pretty high up on his priority list, so.
Where do you mean 5 acres?
Just
Where?
north of
Just
the
north
current
of
shed.
the 2 sheds.
Right next to the
Okay.
railroad track. They have a hard time developing that because nobody wants to live nowadays. Nobody wants to build a brand new house right next to the railroad track.
Okay.
And then businesses are very or they don't look forward to working with the railroad to build buildings that close, and the school had no interest in it either. So Jenna, I won't speak out of turn on that, but Katie will work on that.
Yeah.
I'll turn it over to you then, did you?
No, I
If that was all you had this weekend.
That's
Yeah.
it.
Okay.
Planning and zoning met, I was at a children's thing for the second straight month, so, but I knew Travis was there, so Travis is on council adjacent soon, so yeah. Thank you, Travis. I'll let Mike talk to that in a second. As far as the gas station goes, obviously it's not gonna start when the ground's frozen. The government agency that was closed down, that was causing the holdup, is not closed down anymore. They have their batch of funding, they're determining where that batch of funding will go, and then we should know more on that, hopefully by the end of the year, if not right after the first of the year. And the expected start date is still the spring when the ground thaws. They just have to get that dock in a row, and that dock was closed for 2.5 months because of government shutdowns. So that was fun. Just another thing that no one can control, that keeps slowing things down. In terms of, Rob, for 2 years, right, was a fill-in term. Rob stepped up when there was a lot of turmoil. There was some comments made about it in the past, about people leaving and resignations and some things that happened, with the city and employee changeover, and Rob stepped up at that time and filled some shoes, and I've appreciated it every day that you've been involved. It wasn't easy. There was some long nights and long meetings and some really complicated votes, and it's been awesome having you aboard, so I appreciate that. And if you choose not to continue, God bless you. I'll choose that at some point too, but. And then Brad, don't let people forget you served as interim mayor during a really rocky time as well. Not, that's where you actually stepped in, and you remember the rocky meeting where Angie, when the whole election that got forced and all the things that happened. And I'm not gonna sit here and relive all that, but there was a meeting, a couple years ago, and this guy and I stood out in the parking lot afterwards, and we looked at each other and said, well, if we don't do it, who the hell's gonna do it? And so I appreciate you standing, lockstep these last couple years, helping out. It's been really helpful. So, thank you. I'm not. I guess
Did you see that huge fly?
Yeah.
Well, I'll let you touch on the water treatment plant if you had planned to speak about that.
Sure, yeah.
But just some other couple items. We have several appointments coming up at the January meeting for boards, commissions, and council liaisons. Just making you all aware of that. I don't know if you saw some of my updates about the speed limit, but the guys are trying to get that changed this week when the weather is nice to get the new signs in the ground. So Marissa will post
alerts and, ironic alerts, but posts and everything going out, a couple times a week, at least once a week, definitely, for a little bit, just to get people up on, hey, this is the thing, you can sign up for it, all of those.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, and then as far as the speed limit change as well, I pushed that out a couple times for the first few weeks.
Okay, yes.
If not month or so, just a friendly reminder.
Yeah.
Push it out on Facebook, not on I will alert.
Yes.
I thought you were saying not very many people signed up quite yet.
An amber alert does not mean the color of the water from the hydrant flushing.
Wow.
Deb has done a great job getting all of our reports submitted by December 1. So she made it through that busy season, busy time of year. Very thankful to have those done.
By December 1st.
Yeah.
No pressure.
That used to be that's a big deal. It is a huge deal.
It is. You can't do your budget until your AFR is done.
Yep.
So, you don't get money if you don't do your budget. So, the state legislative session is coming up. I will keep you posted. Don't know what to expect regarding property tax reform, but I am expecting something. I do think they probably will pass some type of bill. So I will keep you posted throughout that session time period. The landowner, Nick, he did come into City Hall. I gave him some new estimates regarding all of his parcels west of town by the industrial park, and so he seemed very interested in wanting to get started with this. So I told him probably springtime is when we'd see all the action and it be completed. So we will get Tom Henderson looped in on that whole process, because we'll have to have an attorney agreement regarding, he has a couple requests, Nick does. So that's kind of the gist of my update, but if you have any questions, let me know. Nope.
Very good. Thank you.
So you guys got the new reports from Edmonds. I'm going to continue to look at those and maybe make some more improvements to them. The banks, I got September to reconcile to penny. I was off 65 cents in October, and I went ahead and reconciled November, and I'm working on December now, so that's pretty good. I also have started preparing getting ready for tax reports, W-2s and 1099s. And I think that is about it.
Excellent. Thank you for doing all that, you guys.
It's really exciting to have to have everything just together.
Oh, yeah, it's
As we did the budget last year, we just didn't know.
I love her. She knows so much about taxes.
Yeah.
And that's like very, it's
It
not
is.
very common, and so.
We don't take that for granted. We're thankful for you guys every day. Thank you for all you do.
Mike, anything to add?
Good evening.
I don't.
Planning and zoning met last Monday. We took up the Plat survey that you adopted tonight, or excuse me, approved tonight. We reviewed it, recommended approval. We also looked at the traffic impact survey ordinance change, or actually not change, adoption proposal, with the recommendation that that be approved also. That'll be on, you've got a public hearing next month, and you'll then be acting on it that night. The other thing is that we have posted for openings on the Planning and Zoning Commission. We had one who decided he wanted to be a council member, so he's quitting. Even though I tried to tell him no, he couldn't.
It's good that he's not here.
He's still quitting anyway. And then we have another one that is an expiring term. So we've posted for people who are interested to apply for those. And that's really about it.
Very good. Thank you, sir. On to, skip anybody.
Yeah, I can talk about the water treatment thing.
Oh, yeah, I'm so sorry. Yes, yes,
I'll be
yes.
brief. We're still kind of fighting the three things we've been for the last couple months. This Wednesday, West Tech's coming back with some guys. They're gonna take samples of what they were seeing in the air grid. They haven't really said anything about what they think it is yet. I think I'll be available. I'll probably be there for some part of that day, to
see the report, so yeah, I feel like you have to.
Okay. There's a few things I'm wanting to sit with them and talk about. Hopefully we can iron it out. Wednesday we can talk about the controls, figure that out. The testing and sampling on what they saw in that air grid on unit 1. I'm not certain how long the samples would take to get results back. It could be a week, it could be 2 weeks. From there, that will kind of dictate a cleaning protocol and how to, if it's a rare thing, it's not gonna happen again. Or if it's something that we need to plan on. It shouldn't, we were kind of surprised to see it from where I'm sitting. So hopefully nothing too crazy there, but that's kind of what happened. You know, plugging up that air grid, backed up the pressure on the blower, that's problems with the blower and that. So it's kind of a big trickle down effect.
So what's, pardon my ignorance, what's the end result? I mean, where are we trending? Are we 80% operational? Are we 100% operational but with issues? Are we optimistic of eventually not? Because the amount of time that Ron and Rick are putting into this far exceeds what we had planned.
Yes.
And so the extra hidden costs of that, I think, are, now I know the people coming out and trying to get it running, that's all part of it, right, to start with, and hopefully we're not getting billed a whole lot extra for that. You shouldn't be at all. I'm joking, I know we're not, but I'm saying, like, how much longer do you guys anticipate that continuing, and scenario, you know, if it continues, what's the fix? Because at some point, you know, you can take a dump in a box and mark it guaranteed, but how you get to guaranteed piece. So I'm just kind of curious.
Yes,
it is. I'm just kind of wondering, because it seems like it's working, but I want reassurance, because we're starting to get questions, I am, about the amount of money that's been put into it and the amount of time that it's taking, and we got some comments about, well, the snow didn't get removed until X, Y, and Z happened, and how come they were this, and I saw the trucks at the park up there. I don't have any questions about our public works and their dedication, but I know that they're spending a lot of time there because of things that aren't in their control, and I don't like that for them.
Right.
Not yelling at you or anything, by the way, I just want to know what you know about it.
Yeah.
I also raised my voice because the blowers kicked in, not because I'm.
Right, so I think we're gonna get a lot better idea with, in the next couple of weeks, what was happening inside that air grid. They sent us a photo of the televising, but it looks like you've seen like a home sewer line televising.
Yeah, it looked like the Blair Witch Project is what it looked like.
Okay, what are we looking at? So, the sampling coming back should tell us a lot. They got the blower to replace the one that burned up in the shop building. It's in, so it's close. We're just waiting to figure out what they need to do to clean the air grid. So that's kind of a 2-week number on this thing, right? And with the controls, the hunting, right, doing the little up and down. That one's kind of tough. It's tough to say, is this much okay, but this much isn't, right? And consistently, you know, if it's 5 and 10 gallons of a difference, that's unacceptable. Sometimes it swings to 15, 20. When it first started, it was 30, 40. So it feels like we're slowly getting it to be where we want it. Wish it were faster to get here. Right? I think it's a lot of all of these sensors and level readings are all trying to keep it right here, but we're slowly getting to say, okay, well, we can make it do this, and we run it for a week, and we go here, we run it for 3 weeks, get a little better, and so that's kind of, feel like we're getting closer to having it smooth and what happened about it. So yeah, I think a couple of weeks moving across the board, a lot of progress. But yeah, I know they're moving a lot.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm sure. They have nothing but good things to say about the support they're getting, so I think the frustration's growing.
Oh, yeah.
Because we, you know, it was like, oh, June, and then it was September, and then we started getting change orders and things, and it was like, now it's Christmas.
No, but as far as percent complete, 95, right? It's treating water effectively. It's just the whole
shouldn't always be a bubble. Yeah, I get that, but, okay. Oh, yeah, I mean, because one of the things that Brad brought up was the third full-time public works person and the succession plans and things like that, and it's gonna change, I think, our budget for 2027, because we're gonna be investing this much time into these materials and all the stuff into it. And the third person's almost gonna be difficult. So,
Right, I mean, regular operation, it shouldn't be put there all the time. Same with this, that, and the other, trying to. And also, I think there's a lot of depths there too, so it's like, oh my gosh, this, which I understand, I see it, I can see it.
take a deep breath, I understand. The game is supposed to have done a great job, we appreciate that work, it's awesome to us, so thank you.
And thanks for coming.
On to number 13 then, the children's coloring contest winners. We don't have yet, so we need to go.
You can't pick mine.
Katie, remind me, what are the age ranges on this? Like, write those
It's
down.
0 to.
Or if somebody's over there, can you
It
tell me?
says on the sheet.
What do we got over there, Jill?
2 to 4, 5 to 7, 8 to 12.
Thank you. So when we go to vote on it, I can write it down.
So, are we just tallying, what are we doing?
What we did last time is we numbered them.
Yeah, we numbered them last time, or you guys voted for your favorite
So-
of that range.
Let's start here and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Does that work?
Yeah.
For the we do every year. So start from the top left
Very
and count
strict,
over.
has to be.
So like if you like, say, number 3, that would be that one. If you like number 6, that would be the 6th.
I'm very pleased to see that we had a lot more compared to last year.
And there's a lot that kind of make it in. So we're going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is 6, no,
Yep,
this is 6.
correct.
Okay.
Yep.
I should make sure.
Left to right, top to bottom. Another Tommy Boy joke I won't make. String together, make a sentence.
Okay.
So that's 6 times 3 is 18.
Bluetooth disconnected. Bluetooth connection succeeded.
So that's 1.
Sampling throughout the day. And sharp look before he does it.
They're all good.
But that's so, they've been kind
Okay.
of above and beyond, I think, and trying to help figure it out. So John just got his contract operator.
It just worked out that way.
Yeah. Okay.
So we'll do the little kids first then.
Yes.
What numbers did everybody have for the first group?
Have somebody check in on it.
Okay. Brad, Rob,
If that's for
Brad.
PowerPoint.
I had one as well, actually.
Okay.
Johnny, do you vote?
I mean, I voted last year. You guys let me vote last year.
Vote, man, vote. We need it.
We got 2 votes for 1.
I,
2 votes.
I was partial to one myself.
Okay, 1 it is.
One it is.
Penguin. 1, all right.
All right.
Next.
It'd be a lot for us.
18.
18 as well.
Yes.
16. 1, 7, and 18. Oh, my 3 favorite.
Yeah, I had 1 and 18.
Just that's attention to detail.
No, I would
18
concur.
it is?
Yes.
It is. Let's
All right.
get it. All right.
It's hard for us to.
It's 4. 4.
Okay.
I did that. I'll jump in early. I did. It was a toss up for me between either 4 or 6, but I'm gonna lean towards 4.
I like 4.
Yeah, I hear it saying,
I actually had 7. 6. That was.
Don't even do that.
Yeah, I know.
Come on, help you guys.
Right, don't say which one it is.
Realistically, it's on the water and wastewater.
Did I hear for 2 for 7?
There's 2 for 4, I think.
2 for 4.
Stephanie,
Did you have 7?
you might
I
have
had,
seen the
I had
tiebreaker.
6.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wait, our councilman-elect could be the tiebreaker.
Yeah, it was actually.
Good.
So Moore got 2 votes.
I don't know, my kids drew pictures too, so I might be a conflict of interest.
I guess I got it.
Oh, shoot.
My kid.
Well, which one was yours?
Sorry.
Did you drop 4?
Yeah, who won?
The mayor, the honorable mayor, will announce that.
Oh.
It's one of the perks of the job.
So in the 2 to 4 category here, for the coloring contest, looks like we have Oliver with the penguin. And I'll do what I did last year, I'll take some pictures and I'll put them up on the video there as well. This will be the 5 to 7. I don't see, there it is, Peyton with the reindeer. Not Peyton Manning. Goodness. And then in the, what would that be, the 8 to 12 category with the Santa and the reindeer at the, I'll say the shed, would be, I don't know what else to call it.
Barn?
Barn, yes, barn, shed.
Does it have a fence around it?
Oh, boy. Chloe, yes, Chloe, yes, so congratulations to our winners. Everybody's favorite part of the evening, number 14.
Motion to adjourn.
Second vote, Foraker.
Aye.
Foraker, Edler, Campbell, Fordyce.
Now it's.
No, we already voted. Thank you all very much.